Heck yeah, mate. I am pumped. Now, our first Vanguard match will be coming up next. Erik against Clem. Vanguard versus Vanguard, about a month ago when the matchups were not that great, to be honest. A month or two ago. Infernal versus Infernal was pretty boring. Infernal versus Vanguard was massively Infernal favored at the time. That was a very different patch. But Vanguard versus Vanguard, I feel like, because Vanguard's kind of the most fleshed out faction, it was the first one in the very first alpha that came out on its own, even before Infernal was in the game. It does feel like the most fleshed out mirror matchup in some regards. The only thing is in this most recent patch, because the EXO has gotten so strong, it almost feels like the variety we had in the previous versions maybe has contracted a little bit in this current version because the EXO is just so dominant. The guys with the guns running around in big packs kind of kill everything.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they pile so much damage in. They're very quick as well. I am curious because Clem so far, out of all the Vanguard players, he's the only one that's been utilizing the Hedgehog. Now, granted, day-to-day basis, you can probably see strategies absolutely flip on their heads, right? In regards to what they're going to show. We're going to see here the bracket for you guys, so you get to see what we were on about here. This will be the final round of 16 match of the day. Erik versus Clem, and perfect race distribution. David Kim, eat your heart out, lad.
Yeah, man. Just remember, when it's not though, it is David Kim's fault as well. So
Absolutely.
we laugh
Absolutely.
at we laugh at David Kim when things go right. He doesn't get credit, but then we make fun of him when things actually go well. So that's just the curse there. I always say, every great RTS needs a sort of lightning rod, a person who's like in charge of balance changes, and they just get blamed by every irrational, angry gamer hanging out after losing a game, going, "Ah, the units are unfair. You're stupid head." For us in Stormgate, that's the Donger, Mister Monk himself, Kevin Dong. He's our guy who I don't think he wants that title at all, but I'm already shoehorning him into it. I'm like, we're gonna blame you for anything that goes wrong, and he's like, no, I just want the game to be great. But he's been a fantastic voice within the development of the Stormgate team, talking about kind of their vision and probably being, I would say, one of the big forces behind us. Making tweaks, even though the big focus of their team has not been balanced. It's been make fun game, make units work good, make pathing work good. It's been kind of cool to see, patches coming in and adapting and adjusting little things so that we've still got these players spending so much time practicing, figuring out builds in a state of the game, which I'm sure we're going to look back at VODs of tournaments like this and we're just going to go like, what the hell was that? That's nothing like the finished version of Stormgate. Even games that the units didn't change that much, like I think of StarCraft 2 when it first came out or in its beta, the units didn't change that much in their behavior, but still just the strategies, the gameplay, the maps looked so very different. So I'm really kind of excited that we're documenting this early in a game's life cycle, and we're going to look back on it and have a lot of fun stories to tell. But that's, of course, by the by and by. I'll let you introduce these players, Ben.
Oh, I was just thinking about, did you know that Monk was a pro Hearthstone player before he went into the dev side of things?
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like, did he cast a Hearthstone tournament or two as well before he went and did that? Because he was like a master StarCraft player and always involved with Team Liquid. I didn't realize he was a pro. That's cool.
Well, the word pro is very, very stretched these days, isn't
like
it?
Artosis is a pro because he won that BlizzCon show match they did before the game even came out.
Yeah, I see like people like Maximus Black calling himself a former StarCraft 2 pro, and it's like, what? So Monk, he actually did win prize money though back in Hearthstone, but then moved
cool.
over, and he did beat Hearthstone, or rather Artosis wait. Hearthstone.
I'm an AoE 4 pro then, Ben. I won $5,000 playing AoE 4.
Mate,
in a streamer show match when it first came out.
It's actually, that was with Drogo and stuff, right?
Yeah, Drogo carried me.
I mean, like it's amazing the prestige that people have behind being like a pro StarCraft 2 guy and stuff from beyond. But yeah, Monk definitely competed in the Hearthstone tournaments. I remember meeting him at like a Seat Story Cup. And that's where I met like Trump and stuff as well. And yeah, I was very happy to see that Monk did indeed beat Artosis quite a bit at Hearthstone. And Erik coming in with some very, very quick shenanigans over here.
I love it. Heavy pressure.
Very fast Lancer.
I mean, what did we see yesterday? Clem basically was just left untouched, and he would just pressure and macro and pressure and macro, and he was never on the back foot, and he dominated whenever he was the one going first. So Erik, a very aggressive player from Brazil, the king of the 15-15 opening, for those who don't know, famous Zerg build in the last year of StarCraft that Cyril uses a lot. He's very aggressive, and he loves to get in his opponent's face. So Clem's going to have to react very well. Problem, Clem is a god of micro. Look at him repairing his bobs. He's really good at trying to pull back the weak bobs and repairing them, but I think it's going to go down anyway. Good focus fire for Erik.
Certainly is, and just to talk a little bit about where these players come from. Yeah, both are from StarCraft 2. Clem is the absolute new kid on the block over the last few years. He's been around for a long time, but just over in the last few years, he's really climbed to absolute excellence. But Erik right now, he's a cheesy Zerg from StarCraft 2, and right now he's showing there's a cheesy Vanguard in Stormgate as well. Also, Erik did participate in quite a bit of AoE 4. It was pretty darn decent. I'd say it was like kind of around the top 20-ish mark. But yeah, definitely bringing it to Clem thus far.
He's in the main with dogs. I like this, opening with a few Lancers, and then you start running around in circles with dogs being annoying. You want to keep them alive, though. You don't want to stand and fight with the Lancers. And I think you want to expand behind it, because like otherwise, obviously, you know, you're not going to kill him. Dogs kind of suck first, Lancers. I wonder, does he have the dog upgrade? I wonder if he got a biokinetics lab, Erik, because he is letting his units attack that Lancer a fair bit. Got to be careful and try to take out the bobs. Doesn't look like he has the upgrade. Those bobs are not taking that much damage.
No, they aren't. At least not just yet. I mean, getting a few of the bobs down, and still, we see on his side of the map, still no expansion coming down for him at all. He's going to use his Lancers, by the looks of things, to maybe go around the map, creep a little bit. But he has to do something after this. Because
I think the upgrade did kick in, by the way, just after we said that. So, cast a curse.
Cast a curse, indeed. But by the time it did kick in, it's one of those things where it's like they have to go home.
Yeah.
They really do. I mean, that one turret with a Lancer in will make short work of those scouts.
Well, at least he's able to creep with them, which is very important because no expansion started yet. Erik's already on Therium. And I don't know if he's just saving for an expansion because he's still building units and habitats. And oh my god, Clem creepjacks him in the middle of the map, chases the dogs away from the resource camps. I don't know if he managed to creep them or not, as Clem is just being a menace in the middle of the map. And the whole point of going dogs is to take the creeps to get map control. And Clem kind of denied him temporarily, despite being the guy on double the bases.
Yeah, I mean, this is feisty. I mean, Erik's all about the one base right now, isn't he? Like, all about the one base right now. And he has to do something with this, but what's he gonna do? What are these next few units coming out across the map? Because I'm pretty sure Clem can see this on the low ground. Erik can see everything as well. Very fast Exos. They are definitely gonna pack a real punch.
Wait, how can he? Oh, he's got the dog vision ability to spot the high ground, which is why the Exos can attack from down. I was like, how's he got vision? Oh, of course, the dog ability. So that's a good abuse. Remember, we keep seeing that ledge get abused on this map. Broken Crown, more like Broken Luminite Natural, because we've seen that under Trouble. He does expand behind it. I was worried that Erik was just like, I am all in on one base, YOLO, YOLO, YOLO. But instead, he's getting a forward position, denying mining, being annoying to play against. And that's just a very effective way of applying pressure this early because, yeah, there's Exos coming out for Clem, but he doesn't quite have as many just yet. And you can't repair Exos, so there's no way to, like, boost their power here. And you don't really want to like build a sentry post next to that or anything.
No, you don't. Clem tried to get some Lancer damage done on the other side of the map, but I tell you what, Erik's making this so damn uncomfortable for Clem. Like, he really is. And I think the way that he's handling this, like going toe-to-toe with Clem in a macro game / micro game later on, maybe not the move, but this is what Erik's good at. Just doing something a little bit weird, a little bit offbeat, and absolutely catching his opponent off guard. This is great out of him.
It is, yeah, it's really nice. Oh, oh god, you cannot lose these Exos, Clem. What are we doing out here? Risky plays for Clem getting punished. If he loses another Exo, that'll be rough, but the dogs get shot down. He does take them out. Good micro back Clem. Oh god, Clem's micro. This is the same thing we saw yesterday. You put Clem in a small skirmish, and he's kind of annoying to play against. He is one of the fastest RTS pro gamers in the world. He is ridiculously dizzying to watch. And it does not cost him attention. Normally, when you make a player look at something in an RTS game, you go, okay, you're not looking elsewhere. That doesn't happen when you're playing against Clem. He's always watching everywhere at once because his multitasking is insane.
It really is. And I mean, these Exos, they're veteraning up as well. And I mean, there is a kind of little flank here. He's being very careful with that one guy. Does pick up a flower there. Gets close to full health again. And all of a sudden, Clem's alive. He's not down and out. And
yeah,
the longer this game goes on for, I'm starting to like it more and more for Clem.
He's weathered the storm. I think if we can do a quick check of Clem's economy bases, like go through and count them, because he's starting a third, and I'm pretty sure his main and natural are almost full. So I guess his natural's only at half saturation, his main is almost full. I think he's up a good 5-6 workers right now over Erik, which is pretty massive for this stage in the game. And since he's got an earlier third and equal exos out, as well as that veterancy starting to build, Clem's looking fantastic. As I said, this matchup was really exciting about a month ago in terms of variety, but it is rather exo dominated. That being said, we're seeing a game from here which is looking like it's a little bit more, I would say, simple, because Clem has basically defended the fast expand against a very aggressive one-base pressure. And when you do that in a real-time strategy game, you make expanse and then defense it. I mean, Papa Whitera taught us many, many years ago, over a decade ago, that's how you win real-time strategy.
Yeah, it really is. And this army of Erik is super brittle. I mean, the scouts, they will deal quite a bit of damage with that extra damage to light upgrade. He constantly has vision, but he absolutely needs a great fight. And you can see how he's getting ready to pounce on what Clem has. And he would love to surround him. And you can see he's completely positioning here to try and grab him and catch him off guard. And Clem has to be so careful here.
Oh, nice harass for Erik. He's getting a few bobs down. Oh, the dog harass coming in, or surround, I should say, flanking in. Oh, good micro for Clem, but dude, dogs do amazing damage versus Exos. Erik is such a sneaky guy. Oh my god, that move is massive.
Oh my goodness, and you saw Erik was sharking for it. He's been playing cheeky all the way from the start. And, oh man, Clem must be kicking himself for that move.
Nat Nathanius in the chat has already dubbed that the Paw Patrol flank, and I think that name is going to stick. Shout out to my boy Nate. The Paw Patrol flank, indeed. Absolutely crushing maneuver. And that's brutal, man. I've heard about this when I was learning the game. People were like, yeah, dogs wreck Exos, but like, you never can get on top of them. Every time I tried it, there'd always be like Lancers buffering or something. But Clem was so Exo-focused that I was like, okay, yeah, there is an opening. Erik realized it. He hid the dogs, came in with that big flank. That was a beautiful maneuver. And the Paw Patrol flank pays off big. He's now got full map control. He's using the dogs to spot the high ground to deny the Luminite mining. This is the power of Erik, though. This is something I kind of feel bad. I was pointing out, like, he's way behind in economy. He's kind of losing this game. I should have mentioned, this is the experience of playing against Erik in StarCraft. You're like on 80 workers, he's on 50, and you think there's no way you can lose, and he catches you with the sickest engagement, and you're like, okay, this man is tactically very sound.
Yes. I mean, like, there have been players in the past, such as, you know, an Idra, that would not agree with you at all, right? But no, he knows how to kill people. He knows where the leads, where the edges his builds get you, and how to really take advantage. I mean, he's using these scouts like we haven't seen scouts use. He's got the high ground vision with his Exos. He has to be careful, though, because, I mean, Clem's army is still pretty damn fierce, and the Lancer count's grown, but Erik's now the one far ahead economically.
Yeah, he's got his own third base up behind it. He's still got the massive dogs, so you've really got to guard your Exos at every moment, and he's even got the Therium scrapyard on the base where it's probably the least necessary, but it's fine. Still improves his mining rate by a good 30-40% on that base, I would say. Normally... Oh man. Sentry post is not up yet. Oh, he's just going to focus it down. Dogs, they can do massive damage to any of the units that aren't the Lancers. But he says, you know what? I'll just lock those Lancers in a surround anyway, just so they can't escape. Because why not? And it's still a good trade for Erik, as he just keeps Clem pinned back on two bases. At this point, I think Clem needs to break the trees down on the left and try to expand in that direction. But oh no, he's in the open. The slow upgrade on the dogs that we almost never see has been upgraded, by the way. That's why you can see that purple on those Exos when they get hit. Really cool play out of Erik.
Really cool play. And he's just not about letting Clem breathe or get back into the game. He's just very in his face, a very, very basic army. Dogs, Exos, getting the upgrades on them as well. Just being a real damn menace. And it's working out so well. Like, he can't be too over-eager, can he? But I say that. That is so many Exos, man. He deals so much damage.
Overeager is his middle name. I always feel like every time I watch Erik play StarCraft, I'm getting the same thing here. I'm like, oh, this might be dangerous. But he makes it work so well. He's got good micro. He's decisive. And once he gets going, he's hard to stop. The Brazilian beast, Erik here, overwhelming the Baguette Lord. Clem does lose map 1.
I mean, smart out of Erik this game. Totally took advantage of the map and the layout. and maybe also just the lack of practice when it comes down to Clem and dealing with that, because maybe we'd see Erik go up against a loose front or a probe, and it'd be like, oh, that's how you shut that down. Like, yeah. So I like the fact that Erik brought that out in game one, especially, was just quick, sharp, and just didn't let Clem breathe. Didn't let him get back into it. It was like 2 base versus 3 at one point for Erik, and he's like, no,
Yeah.
no, no. Like this is how you really catch your opponent off guard. And you saw him looking for it as well. Like he was around that pillar using the scout with vision. Great play.
The good boy strategy there, the best boys, you know, taking them for a more walk and tossing them a whole bunch of exos to play fetch with. Erik treats his dogs with love. I love it as well. I can see, of course, I think that's Frost Giant in the chat there going, "Yeah, they are robot dogs, guys. No violence against animals here. Always fine. It is true. They are robot dogs. Apparently, I did just learn they're going to be changing the model at some point to make them more obviously robots. If you look at the portrait, they have like laser eyes. I think like it's kind of obvious on the portrait, but obviously when you're just looking down, you're like, oh, cool, I've got dogs to bite stuff. But no, it's not quite as brutal as like the old Red Alert games where you're using literal combat kennel dogs and they're just getting mown down by dudes with guns. It's a little bit more friendly towards animals. Don't worry, Peter's not going to be writing in any complaints about this game yet.
I'm just remembering now the Red Alert 2 days where a dog gets in the middle of a bunch of dudes and it's like just leaps on them, kills them.
Yes.
It keeps on going. It's like,
Oh,
oh,
dude,
my
if it gets in, like your Tanyas are in the open or something, you're like commando units, and it just one-shots them, and you're like, no!
I mean, that game was brutal for so many reasons. Like having a tank just kind of mow over infantry. It's like, oh my God, this is amazing. Alrighty. This game so far, getting the boost on those 2 workers there, those 2 bobs early on. Over at the ramp, feels like Erik is again up to no good. Uh-oh. Okay. Does rectify those silly bobs there.
Yeah, you got to keep an eye on it. The bobs are the silly unit that gets blocked sometimes when they're building things, but already going for a barracks is Erik, while Clem looks like he does want to go command post first again. Funny, because I've heard people say, you know, command post first, it used to not be viable, but since the dog upgrade in the last patch takes double the length of time to upgrade, costs 50 Ethereum rather than 25, that it is viable now. That being said, we don't see Ethereum mining for Erik, so he's just going to do the Lancer pressure to open into the dog, similar to the last game, or Lancer pressure into expand. We haven't found out exactly which one will be his flavor just yet.
I mean, it's cool that he's going for the same thing, and I mean, Clem knows what he's up against, and the fact that he got to scout it this time, he can be a bit more like, all right, we'll see what he's prepped this time round to deal with it, because previous game, okay. What is that he's making? Speed building a barracks, I'd imagine, at the top of his ramp there. I mean, already feels like he's a little bit more tuned in with how to deal with this.
Nice dog scouting for Erik, keeping an eye on what's going on. He's heavily into his Ethereum mining now, ready to add some upgrades. And yeah, I remember talking to Probe and a few other guys, and you know, he was kind of saying, he's like, you definitely can defend the expansion. The question is, can you do it and be ahead after dealing with all the harassment? And that's something which is still up in the air in this current patch since it's so new. We've seen players kind of having both opinions. And with the limited Vanguard versus Vanguard we've seen in this tournament, it's definitely something we haven't figured out yet. Clem's been very good at that repair. He's also been good at like holding back his overcharges as much as possible and only using them when he really needs to. But the thing is, when you use that overcharge, I'm pretty sure Erik just runs away, waits for it to run out, and then comes back when it's exhausted. Good focus fire from both sides. The dog will go down for Clem's side. Oh, he's got a surround there, but his bobs are getting low. Clem losing a bob. He's going to lose another one. Oh, and that Lancer getting free.
I feel like this opening from Erik is just really good if you don't know how to deal with it properly, and that's a boost on, what, 2 bobs there?
Yeah.
I mean, that is a very, very sad little boost, and
desperation overcharge, man.
Yeah, it really is, and you're really seeing that these players that have been playing this for quite some time are really making short work with most of those Katowice qualifier players besides a laser.
Wow,
and Probe,
man.
obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, these doggos running circles around. The Lancers still up in there. Lancers are so tanky at 230 hit points. And remember, they reduce incoming damage by 3, which is why the bobs, unless they're overcharged, they kind of tickle them. And the dogs adding the real damage, finding that exposed bob line on the expansion. Those bobs taking big damage. And the friendly robots, the bobs with a smile permanently printed on their face, are right now feeling a lot of pain. There's a little bit of engine fluid dripping out of their eye sockets right now, dude.
Yeah, I mean, Erik does have to be careful with these scouts, right? Like, he's still on one base only, and I think he's pumping out from, like, maybe 2 barracks here at this point in time. He's going for some more bob kills, and every time he gets one, he has a little smile on his face, laughing at the smile of those bobs. And, oh, that building isn't building. I wonder... Oh, okay, it's getting... it is getting fixed here. And now Eric's going to go for his own base. Nice on the bobs here. Keeps a lot of them alive.
Yeah, and if we could click on one of the dogs at some point as well, just to check the upgrades. They definitely don't have the slow yet. That's like a late game upgrade. We've got an expansion coming in, and you can see there, it does look like they've got that Beryllium Claws upgraded, which is fantastic. It says Gear Grind seems to be lit up. I'm not sure if that fully updates when they're upgraded or not, but we'll see if there's a purple effect on units they hit. And looks like there isn't just yet, but I think they have the damage upgrades so far. I could be wrong on that. And right now, those dogs going to pull back. Wise choice. They are deep in the red. Clem survives, but I think it is a lot of damage done. I don't think Clem's necessarily ahead. However, I'm sure he's learned his lesson from the last game. Don't go pure exo. Don't move them into the open. Make sure you got lancers to guard them, and watch out for those dog flanks.
Definitely. And if there's one thing that would help him a lot, getting up this turret, I mean, oh, those dogs deal a lot of damage. Nice attempt at a split there with the scouts. You saw that? It stopped the chainsaw from bouncing between all those units. And now Clem, he's on the aggressive. And there's one thing that's very good against a player that knows nothing but aggro. It is being aggressive.
Yeah, very nice. Forces the Bob overcharge out, so they have to speed build this turret. Meanwhile, the dog's hanging out over there near the healing camp. Once you get the buzzsaw up, you just launch that thing. And of course, those lancers have to back off. Dogs cannot take down a health camp, of course. They could... 3 dogs is not a great number, even to take down a single spider on the resource camps, but looks like Eric's going to try for it.
So Clem is securing himself in this game now. Like, he feels more secure than he did the previous game, even though I say that. It was that ledge that really busted him open, I feel, where he couldn't mine from his expansion. Erik, this game, I think he took his natural quite a bit earlier. This will be a nice vision camp for Clem. Does manage to get it without it getting nabbed by his opponent here.
Here we go. Lancer versus Lancer battle. And... oh, I'm gonna have to be careful here. Try to pull it away. Clem, some good micro. Erik gets the kill and pulls his weak one back, but he's looking for more. Wow, Erik has no chill, man.
Erik has no chill and no calm. Like, I very often say this about certain aggressive players. It's like, they only have one gear, and that is go, go, go. Erik is all about the go. And I do wonder, because this game, he can't shut down the expansion mining as well as he did in the previous game, but he's very quick to get those exos online, but so is Clem. And Clem looks like he's going for a third base.
Okay, I really feel like definitely Clem could get caught out if he gets too aggressive, because as aggressive as Erik is, Clem is also known for just being in his comfort zone when he attacks. And I think he's definitely got to just be a bit more careful, knowing the propensity Erik has here to get an army on the front and a dog surround in the back. And that's something he's got to kind of watch out for. Exo's building for both sides. We don't see any sign of a dog mass, so we're just going to obviously check for that every now and then, and we'll see if that goes down. Third base is up ahead of time for Clem. Clem already got his expansion on 10 out of 12, and slightly below that saturation, actually massively below. Let's be honest, Erik's economy is worse than Clem's significantly. Once again, didn't stop him winning game 1, though. So just watch out for the tactical engagements, because most people on RTS are thinking 5-10 minutes in the future. How do I get ahead? How do I get further ahead? Erik is thinking, how do I kill you now or in the next minute or two? So he's just focusing on army production. That's what he loves to do. And he is purely focused on finding that correct engagement to really turn perhaps his inferior numbers into a superior engagement.
I think Erik's in so much trouble this game, man. I really do. Like, he managed to get control of that ledge in the previous one, and I know I keep harping on about it, but it was such a big deal. This game, he's just not able to slow down Clem in the same way, but Clem does have to be careful, because he's stepping out to the map, and he's already been caught off once by this man with a lot of dogs and exos, and it does feel like a lot more dogs are coming out in the field.
Oh, you see those red exos walking out there, man. It's like putting raw meat in front of a dog. You got to be careful, Clem. Careful, mate. It's a dangerous maneuver. A dangerous maneuver indeed. He's just so low on lancers as well. He needs to build more lancers. You can't have one lancer and pure exo. The dog's on the right. The exo's on the left. Looks like he's going to come in from the right side. Is Erik. Finds himself a reinforcing unit, picks it off. pulls back. He's going to go down south. Starts going after the habitat, interestingly. Only one Bob can repair that, so not a bad choice to just pick off a building without overcommitting.
Yeah, definitely not bad, and just does make Clem feel a bit like, oh my goodness, what's happening here? And he's so on 2-base, he's so committed to this. He has to get damage done. Now, is Clem going to let it happen? If you're in Clem's shoes now and you know exactly what's going down, you get another turret down or two, you know, and you put the Lancers in them. You really honker on down because you are ahead if this game carries on. And what is that over there? Sentry Post? Okay, that's exactly what he does, and that's the right move.
Yeah, he's going to need it. A lack of sentry post costing him in the last game. You get a Lancer and a sentry post, it's so good against these dogs. He's got only a second Lancer with his Exos, though. Clem here, maybe a bit addicted to the man with the gun. It's his comfort zone as a champion-winning Terran in StarCraft. Interestingly, he just doesn't want to go in range of that Buzzsaw turret. He does now, but you can see the dogs take so much damage from it. He's like, oh, we don't want to stay there very long. His Exos cannot chase, though.
No, they can't. Like, these scouts, they see everything. They're faster. I mean, these Exos, they do move a bit quicker now. I think they have the upgrade with them. You see that little blue aura on them. But he has, I mean, Clem, you just got away with it, mate. You just got away with it. And now you see the other army of Erik. He's looking for the pounce.
Oh, and there's no slow on the dogs this time either. And actually, yeah, he does catch a lot of the dogs. Clem is such a dangerous guy with his maneuvers, but I think this works out. As long as he gets those Exos on the right, up in behind his expansion. Oh, get out of there, Clem! He does use his shield. Oh, I don't think Erik has tier 2 in this game, so he doesn't have the shield. That shield is so huge, and so many more Exos coming in. Clem may have just been ahead for too long in this game. Erik is getting overwhelmed and crushed there, and Clem shuts him down in game 2.
Yeah, big veteran C's coming in as well on these Exos, and Erik, he almost played this in a Warcraft 3 style that he's got one army and one punch available. A few scouts are on the map that are going to try and slow things down, maybe pick off, oh, I say that, just F2ing back home. And Clem feeling so confident, he's going to try and take a third or fourth base behind this? I mean, that's kind of nuts, no?
Yeah, Clem is ridiculous as a RTS player. Like, he does this. Like, there are so many times, I always describe it as this feeling where you think he's like all in, but he's taken 2 bases at the same time. Like, once he gets an inch, he'll take a mile. And it's this thing, because he's so fast, he can do everything at once. So he can counterattack you and really convince you that's his whole focus. But he's actually taking a massive economy advantage behind it as well. So you kind of misread the situation. Or if you're just like, oh, I'm being a little greedy for half a second, bam, comes in, snipes the turret, and he catches you off. And Clem just doing everything at once. He's too far ahead now. So as crazy as it is, he's got that sense for like, well, if we were in an even game, yeah, it's dumb going 4-base versus a guy that's just started his third or just taken his third, but it's not an even game. I crushed you in that last fight. I feel way ahead. And we do see Erik has the tier 2 and has his shield up, but Clem just doesn't shoot the guy with the shield at all. Eric's running him in front. He's like, shoot me. Please shoot me. And Clem's like, nope, I'm just going to focus fire everything else.
Yeah, now he's very willing to shoot him. I mean, this is just not an even fight at this point in time. Bobs are overcharged. That means they take, like, I think half the amount of damage they would do normally. But Clem, just a superior tech now. And his Exos, he's got more of them online, and he's healing them up as well. Exo does go into this turret for Erik at this point in time. But again, this is just so much lost mining. Remember, he's barely a 3-base Vanguard at this point. He's against 4-base Clem.
Yeah, Clem is out of control in this one. Erik's hanging in there, see if he can make something happen. But of course, it is pretty much a foregone conclusion. Looks like we'll get a game 3. Now, the only problem we've seen in terms of this is Clem is doing a solid defensive build, right? CP first. Erik, on the other hand, has played the same opening 2 games in a row, as the GG does get forced out. Do you play the same build 3 games in a row? Because I feel like Clem got a little bit better from game 1, even though it started really nicely with like a few bobs going down. It looked like it was getting good damage. It's so committed. I think we don't see everything casting this. I'm gonna guess there was a lot of Bob's production being missed from Erik behind that, where he's like, I got 10 on Luminite, I got enough Therium for my upgrades. We're not making Bobs, we're just making army. Because I was like, with how many Bobs he's killing, surely he should be getting ahead and have all these extra guys to build an expansion. And we kind of looked back, and we're like, he's still on 1 base. And we're like, oh, Erik's even more committed than we thought.
I'll be very honest here, Pig, and maybe you'll agree with me. I think Zerg players have had it very easy for a long time in StarCraft 2, you know? You hit your injects, and it doesn't truly matter if you're missing a drone here or 2. You know, you can absolutely do it out in 1 wave, and sometimes you look like a genius, sometimes you don't. But when you play a race that's hard like Vanguard or Terran. You know, it's hard keeping up on those cycles, mate. People talked about the freaking injects being tricky. Hey, they changed that a long time ago. They stack nowadays, you know, mistake galore kind of thing. But I do think Erik is going to go for the same thing again, because I will be.
Wait. We can't move on that quickly. You can finish your analysis later, Ben. We gotta finish this right now, mate. If you've seen Erik play Zerg, the man doesn't build drones even when he can stock up the lava. He just makes fighting units and just skips drones 80% of the time. Anyway, this is the sort of guy where you think it's an even macro game, and he's just on 52 drones until, like, you know, 5 minutes after the other player's been macro. He just likes to fight. You're familiar with Mio Micah, right, Ben?
Of course, I'm familiar with Mio Micah, the man
Erik
that turns
is
up
the
to
Brazilian
lands.
Mio Micah, man. A guy that just wants to stab you. He doesn't care about economy. He doesn't care about the future. He just wants to attack all game.
No, absolutely, and it's going to be Jagged more to finish things off here as well. But when I played Erik in both StarCraft 2 and DoE 4, he is a creature of habit, like an absolute creature of habit. So, like, it's like when you play those cannon rushes, right? And you're like, okay, if I just do a wall off here, I delay my gas, you know, game over kind of thing. Absolutely, when I play Erik, creature of habit, and I think he doesn't know how to not cheese. And you could be like, Erik, you're a cheesy guy, right? But you're like, what? No. Everybody else is cheesing by playing very macro-centric. Whereas he's just all about that.
Indeed, we're getting a bit of crackle there from Benjamin, but I hear you just fine, so I'm sure our audio guy will just rejoin the channel and get that sorted in a moment. Hopefully that'll clear that stuff up. I do like seeing Twitch chat explode like that, though. It does make me
Vodka.
I think we see Vodka is sorting that right now, as he's of course also observing our producer. So we'll get that sorted. And looks like right now we're going to be going to Jagged more, ladies and gentlemen. And Vanguard players, Infernal players, strap yourselves in, because it's Vanguard versus Vanguard on the fun, crazy Siege Camp map. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, Clem, he's the guy that's been playing the more, I'll call it the more sensible style, in that he's been taking the expansion and seeing what he can do afterwards. And Erik's really been bringing the heat. Bob's here, trying to fight here. It's not truly a fair fight. They do get to repair. Doesn't cost anything, but it is lost mining time. Does have a barracks in its main base. Pulling some more Bobs down here as well. Lancers are a tiny bit faster. Buffed up Bobs over here. Lancers don't truly want to be fighting against these mad lads. They deal double damage. They take half the damage. And they also construct twice as fast as well. And you see that being utilized here by Clem. But he has to be careful.
These are definitely natty Bobs, mate. They'll tell you that every day while trying to sell you their supplements. These guys are absolutely juiced to the gills. And the Lancers and the Dog wisely go past into the main, where they can find the other guys. The overcharge wears off. They're going to start taking those guys out as much as they possibly can. Lancers trying to do some damage. It is just non-stop aggression for Erik. He has confidence in his build order. I think maybe if he preserves his dog slightly better, that could be good. Good surround here for Clem, but you can just see how little damage the Bobs actually do to the Lancers. Man, his repair micro is so good, though. I really feel like Clem's very good at juggling these stressful scenarios. We'll see how it goes, as I think the red hit point Bob did just get taken out in this worker line. And the Lancer from behind kind of sandwiching everything. Dog's coming in as well, but the Lancer's almost completely gone. It does feel like Clem, especially with the Buzzsaw turret on the front, he's done a great job of holding on. If he doesn't lose these 4 red hit point Bobs, he's way ahead. One goes down, second one goes down.
And it does look like the scouts are dealing extra damage now from Erik, right?
Is that Erik's Bob in the base?
It is a Bob! What's he doing here?
What's he doing here, mate?
Bob, you're on the wrong end of the valley, lad. What's going on?
I wanted to be one of the boys. I wanted to get in there and fight, man.
I'm one of the Bobs, lad.
He's just going to hide in the corner of the base now and think about his bad life choices that have got him here on red hit points in the corner of the enemy main base. Who knows, maybe proxy something in there later on. The dog is still circling, keeping Clem busy, but no expansion started for Erik, and it does feel like, yeah, you do the same opening 3 games in a row. He gets better and better at defending it. This time, though, Erik has transitioned into Hangar much quicker. He's going to be running across with a very early Hornet and trying to do big damage, hoping that there's no Exos out yet. I think that's the Biokinetics lab on the way, though. So if that gets out and he gets some Exos and some sentry posts, he can defend.
Erik's wild, man. Erik's actually wild. And I mean, you can imagine little Clem here. Clem with hands absolutely speedy as crazy, but what Erik's throwing at him right now looks exactly the same as the previous games, but you said it, that's a very different follow-up behind it. And Hornets, they are strong, man. They are really strong.
Yeah, good dog micro by Erik, being a nuisance, man. You could tell this guy's run Zerglings around a Protoss's base in circles a few times in his life. He's gonna repair the dog! Utilizing every resource, he gets an extra few hit points on the dog before poor Bob the Adventurer, the man who dared to go outside of the caste system that the Vanguard are all about and actually say, you know what, I might be a robot, but I can fight too. Went out there, didn't really impact the battle much, but you know, we'll remember him.
It is revealed what he's up to, though. So Hornets are on the menu now, and he's going to focus down some of these low health bobs. Big armor is used, so they are boosted. And I mean, this Hornet so far, it's got kind of free pickings here. But we see what's happening on the rest of the map. There's still no expansion at all for Erik. He is so damn committed with all of this.
Clem's mass repair micro is sick. He's already saved so many bobs by mass repairing. He does finally lose another one there, but this is just such excellent play by Clem right now. Looks like another bob is about to go down. Very hard to click on the bobs when they're above the building. 2 Hornets is a problem. You do not want to lose these Exos. You want to save them to get them inside the turret if possible. Oh, unload the Lancer. Get inside the turret. Okay. The sentry post can shoot air without a unit inside, but it has pretty poor range and it does pretty poor damage.
And I mean, you get the Lancers in there. They do the nice chainsaw kind of thing, butt saw. But you get the Exos in, they turn into a very, very big assault cannon going on. And Erik's really biding his time with these units. What's his eco like back at home? I mean, honestly, he is definitely missing a lot of SCV, or rather Bob production, 100%. Isn't he?
Yeah, and it's funny, right? Because like in AoE, you know, you look at like idle villager time in AoE 2 a lot and stuff. There are ways to win while doing that. It is a decision you make. It's not, oh, he's bad at macroing. It's he has decided to try to win in the here and now with the aggression. Whether it works or not is another story. I do like that he changed it up with the Hornets, and he's caused a lot of chaos, but Clem, with his crisis management, his ability to quick mass repair, throwing down sentry posts everywhere, and you can see the range. 12 range on flat cannons, I believe it is, but only versus air units. They did that because those gaunt drops were ruining them. So in the last patch, we get +2 anti-air range on the flat cannon, and it's massive.
It really is massive, and these turrets now cover a lot of Clem's resources. And oh, yeah, has to be careful with these Hornets again. Okay, so Erik does finally throw down a natural by the looks of it on the map. It's building as I'm saying that. But yeah, very nice turret placement. Has to be careful with his Therium, though, because if he shuts off the Therium here, no more is left. 1 Hornet does go down by the looks of it. That's definitely brutal. And the Lancers over here, no defense to greet them. Erik, oi, oi, oi.
Oi, 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 indeed, mate. That is looking rough. Dogs versus Lancers is not a good fight, as you see. The dogs just get absolutely impaled. And skewered dogs, what can I say? Robot dogs, skewered robot dogs. It's fine, guys. Overcharge goes down there on the bobs as the Hornets start to take these down. I like the split on the Lancers. Clem just causing a ruckus while fully establishing his 2-base economy behind that. And remember, it is splash damage in a line, 2 ranged attack for the Lancer. So it does a nice little line of splash damage. We sometimes forget that. You just think, oh, melee unit just does a single target. No. You get right up in the middle of the bob line, and your Lancers can actually skewer them pretty nicely as well.
Oh, I even see little bobs here sitting idle there near the Therium look, so they're not doing much either. So definitely a lot of miss macro going on from Erik. And every time we look at Clem's base, he's just got workers here, there, and everywhere. Luminite line saturated, and Erik, it's a whole lot of just a bit messy, honestly. And he does deal with these Lancers. Does have Hornets on the map, so he has map control, but Clem, he's taking a 3rd base behind this as well.
Heck yeah, mate. Heckity diddles. Looking fantastic is Clem. The man explodes so quickly. And, you know, I like that he's being tested in this series because, you know, we were saying yesterday, Clem's unstoppable if he's left alone, if he's the one attacking and expanding and picking when and where things happen. That's been a thing in StarCraft as well. Like, Clem's big thing is he came to the front of the scene and he was unstoppable back in 2020 because he was so much faster than everybody. Then people figured out if you just counterattack him constantly and do run-bys, he kind of falls apart a little bit because he's just, he only likes to attack. But he's become a full, well-rounded defensive player, and it feels like he's carrying this over here, even now, into his very limited Stormgate experience.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like first game got caught off guard. Second game, third game though, been far more impressive, hasn't he? And he's just got solid fundamentals, taking bases, getting himself a good little army here. I almost want to see him throw down. Like I don't. You've always got to know or worry about when you play a game that your opponent's macroing a lot, right? Like you've got that in your head. But Erik isn't necessarily. It's all about the go, go, go. So Clem, one thing that he could definitely do is maybe get a couple more turrets down here and there, but you always have it in your head that like that one game that you play too safe is the one game where your opponent went too greedy and you lost because of that. The old rock, paper, scissors scenario.
Yeah.
And now Erik's all about getting a drop going as well, which could definitely deal some damage.
Yeah, taking a 4th base against the guy who's barely mining 2. I mean, yeah, you were saying, you know, a bit silly in the other game when he did this, and definitely it's pushing his greed to the limit. But the man has had an insane growth rate. He took out a Hornet or 2. The drop does get in the back. Exo drop goes in, but Bob overcharge. And those Bobs YOLO into... Actually, they're not even attacking. They just kept mining. Clem kind of just overcharged, ignored it. Lost 2 or 3 Bobs, says, dude, I don't care. I'm on full base.
This is one of those scenes where it's like, well, how do I hurt you? And just can't at the moment. Just can't. Clem's army, it's getting bigger. It's getting better. Everywhere we look, Erik's just losing units here, there, and everywhere. And my goodness, this is... Clem's running away with this one. He's looking bigger, better, stronger here in game 3.
Yeah. Showing the same opening 3 times in a row to try to punish him. And obviously, you know, he just got better and better. He got the sentry post up on the front so fast, which stopped the reinforce. And his repair micro was good in the main. Yeah, he lost a few Bobs, but he was okay with it. If he's building 2 Bobs at a time the whole early game while he's withstanding it, he does get away with it. And we saw Hornets can be hard to deal with. I think if you panic a little bit while dealing with those Hornets, like most players fall apart under pressure when those 2 Hornets are in the base. But he overcharged, he built sentry posts, he mass repaired the guys that were getting targeted, he got his exos out, whenever they got focused, he put them inside the turrets. It was like, okay, you're just doing everything right in such a high-pressure situation. Normally, you need a lot more games to do this stuff, but Clem is intuitively good at micro as another drop hits his main base.
It certainly does, and there is a turret over there in a decent position, but this drop will get a lot more done. And Bobs, do they really want to be fighting exos like this?
The evac is... Oh, he shields the evac before picking up because it's so low on life, but he still leaves a few exos behind, unfortunately. I was like, dude, he's dropping with like a 10 hit point evac. What a mad lad. But he's like, it's fine, I'll just shield it whenever it's in trouble. That is a 2-minute cooldown. He can't do that trick again for a while.
No, he can't. And I mean, he is denying the gathering here, and this is a 2 Luminite line base, so very, very valuable. And he's being a pesk, isn't he? He really is. But these Hornets, they're valuable, man. Like, losing those to an Exo tower like this in the main base, this is not what he wants, really.
No, way too expensive. If you heal up and you just don't die, you just kill 2 Bobs, took damage, heal up. Kill 2 Bobs, heal up. It's like, okay, that's all right. That's good. You're getting free value, but losing Hornets over and over again is costly. And Clem's army, he's got medtech, he's got a critical mass of exos, he's on 4 base. The 4th base is also 2 bases in 1. So he's on 5 Luminite patches. Clem is running away with this game. Erik just now has taken a 3rd, and he is going to be way outsupplied in the next minute or 2 of this game.
And Erik, he's all about getting those dogs online and those exos, you know? This is like a all paths lead to, or all roads lead to Rome kind of thing, and he's all about this life. But this game is just a different kettle of fish entirely. And this vision camp, he sees this army dealing with that siege camp way quicker than what he dealt with that vision camp. He's got a lot riding on this drop in the main base of Clem right now. Yeah,
he's really got to do some damage in that main base, but Clem's been pretty quick to respond to it so far. It looks like the evac just got shot down from what I can tell. That flat cannon doing its work. These exos are like, oh god, we're trapped in here. There's no way out, man. The medtech's throwing its little green ball of attack that does almost nothing. It's the Arbiter attack from Brood War. One of the coolest attacks. I think it did 2 damage in StarCraft 1. It was almost meaningless.
Arbiter?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was a bit more like 8 or something. It's very slow though.
Right, yeah, it was just funny as well because it was like the same graphic that like dragoons and cannons use, right? But it like it basically tickled everything it touched. It was 10 damage apparently. But yeah, it attacked incredibly slowly. It felt like almost nothing.
Oh my god, he's got quite a lot of that hill, but remember the tech of it is very low. Big bubble on that front medic. I mean, a lot of them are just Bobs here. And I
Big
mean, they're not
catapult
going to do
shot.
much.
Yeah, the catapult landed on the Exos as well. I mean, they're overcharged Bobs. They tank. They don't really do much damage, though, because they're all kind of, you know, slow and stuck behind each other a little bit. The Hornets got instantly focused down. Clem is large and in charge. And, of course, an even trade he can take. He's taking a good trade. He is trading out his army, but the Exo count's dropping for Erik. Finally gets his turret up, but I don't think even with mass repair, that's going to be enough. That is like 20 Exos, man.
Oh, and I mean, Clem, he's running away with this. He has been the whole time playing some good, proper Vanguard v Vanguard. And Erik, it was nice to see some cheesy shenanigans taking place, but GG is called. Clem is our final player moving on to the round of 8.
Good on Erik, man. He played a really fun series there. I love to see like the different paths these players take to get victory. And yeah, I just think qualifying through those open qualifiers not an easy path. He showed some really fun, aggressive kind of movement focused play. Not enough to get through the bad boy, the fastest boy, the guy who showed command post first. There's a reason we saw that yesterday in one of our Vanguard versus Vanguard matches. Super solid.